Hey everybody, so last night I saw Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, directed by J.J. Abrams. This movie stars Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac. If you're a regular movie fan who likes Star Wars, you may find yourself satisfied. But if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll find a lot of fan service, lazy excuses to string together the sequel trilogy, and just a flat out lackluster movie. I think the acting in this movie is fine, though it has way too many characters. There are a lot more people in this movie than I included in the storyline, but they get so little to do it felt pointless to add them. The characters introduced in Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are more or less ignored, being given little to do with the overarching film, leaving us with Poe, Finn, and Rey, who get, for two-thirds of them, basically nothing to do themselves. The story tries to force in a second character arc for Poe that feels half-assed and pointless. Rey and Ren get some good things to do, but Kylo Ren's character arc feels messy and forced, if he has a character arc at all in this movie. And everyone else, Domhnall Gleeson, Lupita Nyong'o, Kelly Marie Tran, and the new characters played by Kerry Russell and Naomi Aki have next to nothing to do with the overall story. And since we're on characters, I commend them for doing what they tried to do with Carrie Fisher, with relating to her passing and the character of Princess Leia, but it feels like a disservice at times. It looked awkward in the scenes they used, and yes, I know it was leftover footage from Force Awakens, but it looked horrible. And once again, they used a terrible face map for a younger version of Princess Leia. I think the story overall feels flat out forced. It's a hodgepodge of things that they thought would be cool and threw them together to try to attempt to create a cohesive story to end this aimless trilogy. So much of it is backtracking to try to end this whole thing on a high note, and multiple times the story brings something up that you think might have a greater impact on the overall story, whether it be a secret or a secondary plan, but they never get shown or brought to full fruition. The best part of this movie is the final 30 some odd minutes. It was the only part of the movie I genuinely was interested in and genuinely felt like a Star Wars movie. It's spoiler heavy, but it felt like something all 9 movies have been building towards. In a way, it made it feel like it was all worth it. I think the score was good, but none of the new music stuck out to me particularly. Force Awakens introduced a great theme for the First Order and Kylo Ren, but Episode 8 and this one feel lackluster in this department. And as usual, the CGI and graphics are out of this world, except for, of course, Leia's face. Like I said, if you're a fan of movies and Star Wars in general, I think this movie has something in it for you. It is far from a horrendous movie, and it still leaps and bounds better than the prequels, and even Episode 8. It just feels lackluster as the ending of the sequel trilogy. In the end, it makes me question if it was all necessary. It's been said 1,000 times, but in today's Hollywood, with how much money is going into movies like this nowadays, how much money these movies are making, and with such a fervent Star Wars fan base, including Marvel, in the same house, doing this again and again, I really cannot comprehend how no one sat down and wrote out what was going to happen in each movie to make them feel necessary and to further expand on what was going on in a coherent way. The entire movie feels like JJ tried his best to piece everything together to make a somewhat satisfying ending to this trilogy. And in a way, it fails and succeeds at doing that. I have a lot more I want to say and discuss and talk about regarding this movie, but it's primarily about its spoilers. There are some things here to really like about The Rise of Skywalker. There are some things in this movie to really dislike. I'm just glad I didn't let myself get too excited for its release, because I would have been severely disappointed with the outcome. 6.9 out of 10.